Yeah, this was a surprise, Ashley, because it's been quiet out there for a while. Remember, they were even going to break down the crime scene at one point. Today, though, about 5 pickup trucks showed up to the house, parked outside. There were some men that went inside, and then they started carrying out the mattresses, which appeared to be sort of wrapped up in some kind of like big bag. So the mattresses went out. They went into the back of the pickup trucks. And then they also carried out what you can see right here. I think that was a bed frame that they wrapped in a tarp. And you can see the people carrying the items are wearing gloves, loaded it into the back of the pickup truck, took out some smaller items too. They were there for maybe 2 hours or so, and then off they went.
Do we know for sure that this was, I mean, they look like the state, but it certainly could be big, burly guys for the defense. I highly doubt the defense is allowed to take items away, that this is more likely the state would be taking it to a lab for preservation and that the defense could visit the lab. But were they answering any questions? I know they normally don't, but were they today?
They weren't answering questions. I did notice one of them was a Moscow police officer, I believe, that I have seen in the past going in and out of the house. So I think these were detectives. But don't forget, Ashley, the gag order that was signed by the judge. The police are not allowed to say a word to us anymore. We can send emails and ask what was going on. They're not going to answer. Same with the defense, same with the prosecution at this point.
Yeah, and that's not unusual in such a high-profile case either. I have seen this a million times. So, Brian, some new reporting out about Brian Kohberger observed in those days prior to his arrest at his parents' house, cleaning his car. And not just a little cleaning. It's, you know, it's winter here on the Northeast, in the States up here in the Northeast, and it is cold. Not the kind of time you want to go cleaning your car, but he was doing a deep clean.
Yeah, it was described as a deep clean. Remember, there are reports that agents were following him for at least 4 days before the arrest in Pennsylvania when he was staying at his parents' home there in Monroe County, Pennsylvania. And during that process, when they were doing the surveillance, they say he did a deep, deep clean of the car, of the Elantra that you see right there.
Also, some of the same reporting saying that he was observed at that home of his parents outside wearing surgical gloves. And I think the specifics is that he was taking his trash out wearing surgical gloves. What more do you know about that?
Surgical gloves, Ashley. I mean, why would he be wearing surgical gloves outside his parents' house? Very, very strange. Taking the trash out. Apparently took the trash to the neighbor's trash can, did not put it in his parents' trash can, took it to the neighbor's trash can. I was in that neighborhood earlier this week. Each lot, I would say, is at least 3/4 of an acre to an acre. So to take the trash to the neighbors, it's not like it would be right next door. You'd have to walk a little bit to get to the neighbor's trash can. And then it was that trash, according to reports, that the agents later went through, got an item out of the trash. That's what they tested the DNA against, where it came up with Kohberger's dad's DNA.
It's so fascinating, Brian, to know that Brian Kohberger was doing that because he's in Pennsylvania for Christmas. He shouldn't know anybody's looking through anybody's trash in Pennsylvania. Maybe I'd understand it in Washington, although I'm guessing, and this is just pure speculation on my part, that those 2 stops that happened on the trip home, you know, there was an Idaho State Police stop, and I think there was a sheriff or at least a county stop. Maybe he got real scared. Maybe he got real nervous. All of a sudden, out of the blue, 2 stops within an hour. Very weird. If he's the guilty party here, he'd be terrified. And maybe if he's the guilty party, he would know, oh, dear God, I left the sheath at the crime scene. I can't possibly let them get any of my garbage. I don't think this PhD student of criminology was thinking about his own parents' garbage.
That is a really good point, and something that I think plays into that is when he got arrested in Pennsylvania and we started a dialogue and I started texting back and forth with the public defender there and he started talking to the media. One of the first things that he was told by the Kohbergers was that they were pulled over twice in Indiana. That's how we found out about all of this, through the public defender in Pennsylvania. So clearly that was top of mind They knew something was up when they were pulled over twice. At least that's the way it appears.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.